Hey, folks, and welcome back. Rejoining me, we got Mike Tula. And joining us on the panel now, to my right, Texas heavyweight champion emeritus, Texas cruiserweight champion, the one and only, Mr. Ricky Jackson.
Hey guys.
What does that mean when he's on the show?
Pretty Ricky, what they call him. That means we finna talk about some boxing. You know when you see the champ, it's boxing time. So the hottest fight was last week, and that is Adrian Broner. And I'm gonna say this with a smile. Adrian Broner got destroyed by Sean Porter, right? Talk to me about that fight, champ.
Well, my prediction was pretty much what happened.
Absolutely right.
As we saw when Broner fought Maldonado, if I'm pronouncing his name right, didn't throw many punches, wasn't too aggressive. And I think in this case, he gets caught up into the promotion of the fight opposed to the fight itself. And being a former boxer myself, I know how that can interfere with the process of stepping in the ring and executing a game plan. It gives me the impression he's a kid that does not listen to anybody. And in fighting, this is your third eye. You got to listen to your corner. You're put into a situation where if you don't take information correctly, you can get hurt out there. And of course, with his arrogance, his outside of the ring antics, and his lack of performance, what I thought was going to happen did happen, And also don't take anything away from Porter, who is a very aggressive, put your chin down, bite down on the mouthpiece type of fighter, I thought it was a dumb decision to take that fight in the first place because what surprised me was he took this fight at 147 again. I mean, the last time he fought at 147, he got knocked out.
Yep.
I mean, knocked down, destroyed, handled, and left out of the ring pretty much crying. So, I mean, same thing again. So that just tells me this guy is not taking advice. He's running his own ship, and he's about to make it sink, if it hadn't already sunk.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you guys about that. He posted on his Instagram, and I'm sure you guys saw it. I know you saw it because I tagged you on it. He posted a picture of him with a gun that says, and I'm not going to repeat it, but he said, F this boxing stuff, I'm done with this, I'm going to the streets. Did you see that? What do you think about that? Well, first of all, let me ask you, champ, since you say you think he's done, what do you think about that?
He's an emotional kid,
Yeah.
And boxing brings out your emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say you do his self-justice by shooting himself in the head. I don't wish that.
Well, no, I don't think he was insinuating suicide.
Well,
I know
he was saying I'm going to go
boxing.
to the thug mentality.
Yeah,
I don't think he has a chance in the rap game. I mean, I've heard a little bit of it.
Was it bad as Roy Jones?
Well, Roy was actually good.
You thought Roy was
Roy
really
sold
good?
like 1 million copies.
That don't mean he was good.
I mean,
I think that's
well,
I think that good.
I still like one of Roy's songs, Y'all Must Have Forgot.
That was the
Come on, man.
He used to come to the ring to that.
I mean, that's it.
Must
I
have
mean,
forgot.
that was a great tune. It's still hot. to
I'm
this
just
day.
playing, Roy, because you probably
yeah.
can knock me out like right now, bro. So I'm just playing in case you
They
see.
still use that one-liner too. So
Yeah, I must have forgot. So talk to me about that Broner Porter fight. What did you see, Tula?
I saw a whole lot of nothing from Broner, however you pronounce his name. It really, Ricky hit the nail in the head, perhaps in the coffin, but he doesn't seem. He seems he's very caught up in the BS. Kind of more of a showman. You hear that he walks around at a much heavier, like 13 pounds above. He's not really kind of keeping close to weight.
Has to drop weight fast.
He's doing concerts. I mean, it's
and he's too.
he's doing rap shows.
They feed you good on them tours.
Yeah, they
It
do.
seems like he's ready for. He looked like someone who's doing this as an option. Boxing, especially when he kind of does the poor sportsmanship maneuvers in the ring with the little.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. The little 2 punches in the back of the head. Come on, bro.
Stuff that you're not gonna get away with. Everyone sees. It's totally transparent, and you don't do anything really the whole fight. You're essentially making yourself out to be a homeless guy's Mayweather. Just pot shotting, and it's not even doing anything. You're not as good a defender as him. Just be yourself. I don't know.
Well,
Actually, I don't know about being yourself, but
Well, who is he is the question.
Right, exactly. Who is he?
That's what we get to see, but I still think it's too late to discover who he could have been. I think the game is, you're only as good as your last fight, and his last couple of fights was not so great. It was questionable against Maldonado, and also he lost to Porter easily. I think he lost 9 of the 12 rounds, in my personal opinion.
it was a blowout.
I think it was 10 on the scorecard.
And I think the kid is just, a typical, when I say kid, I mean of that age is still to me considered as a kid. I think without direction, and especially in a sport like boxing, any sport, there's a coach, there's a leader, and that gives you an orchestrated plan to go out there and win the process. I don't think he's coachable. So I see that much chaos and uncertainty and in his eyes that I don't think he can come back from where he's at right now.
You kind of took my thunder. You kind of took my thunder real quick when you said he's a poor man's Mayweather. It's obvious he's trying to emulate Floyd, but you can't emulate somebody that you're not as good as.
That and
you know what I mean?
even Mayweather, as much of a showman as he is, after his fights, he's humble and he's respectful and he's a sportsman.
Right.
Bronner, in both his defeats, even before that,
It's childish, man.
Yeah.
he really is. I mean, he went up to the corner, and after getting smoked by Porter, in this fight, he goes up to his father. He's like, "Oh, so when can I kick your ass again?" It's like, well, you didn't do that. To
Dad wasn't playing.
And then tried to shake his hand, and he totally disrespected that man at the press conference, and then tried to shake his hand. I don't blame Mr. Porter for not.
And that's not boxing. That's something else. That's antics that is not only beyond boxing, but just beyond being a man.
Right.
And that's the part that turned me off about the kid is that, there's entertainment, there's the flash, there's the lights, there's the camera, there's the action that goes along with creating the sports excitement. But then there's taste too.
Right.
So, not interested.
Very difficult.
He said
to
not
argue.
interested.
Yeah, very difficult to argue against that.
Especially when you're getting your tail whooped.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali had his own antics, but he was kicking behind.
Even a fighter like Ricardo Mayorga, who would be brash, even at the end of his fights,
Humble.
he would be a sportsman.
He lit a cigarette a couple of times, but still it was tasteful. Enough to where it was acceptable.
Personality.
So work for him.
Right.
But even, to get away from them for a second, on the same day we had the Andre Ward and the Paul Smith fight. That was a pretty interesting fight. To see Ward still was sharp, still was physically fit, and he broke the kid's nose in the final round, so I saw some decent punching power. This kid's strategy was to show up a little over the weight, have the size advantage, which didn't do him any good. I mean, I think it slowed him up even more. But interesting fight. I'm glad to see Ward's back, and I think Ward will add to that equation of the Triple G.
Absolutely.
Canelo Alvarez, that'll be coming up a little higher for him in that weight. And also, what's the other kid? Triple G, Alvarez, and that's the third.
Golovkin, Cotto.
Cotto. So I see Cotto. I see a realistic Cotto, Alvarez, and Ward possibility.
That'll be a war, man.
They're talking about that like it's already happening.
Yeah, well.
And I think Golovkin and Ward is more. I think Cotto's way too small. But Ward, you want to talk about the complete opposite. We're just talking about Bronner.
Yeah.
Andre Ward, you want to talk about class?
Class act.
Yeah,
Nothing but
this
class.
guy, he gave back the money Paul Smith had to give up for not making weight, which he was like 4 pounds over. Clearly.
Right.
So
That's way overweight.
He
Yeah.
came
For
in
boxing,
with
that's way overweight.
Yeah, he came in with the Cesar Chavez Jr. game plan,
Right.
trying to get over it. But he gave that money right back. So always good to have Andre Ward back in the mix. And it looked like, for someone who was off for that long, his skills, I mean, he totally dominated the fight. It looked like an Andre Ward fight, like from yesteryear.
The only thing I'm concerned about Ward with is he signed with a new promotional company, which is establishing themselves, which is the Rock Nation Promotions, and they got some basketball players. They got quite a bit of boxers from what I understand. But the fight game is a sport that's different from any sport. There's still a underlying old mentality of people that still kind of run that sport. So I'm hoping that this doesn't slow his career up as a fighter. I hope fights get made. I hope this guy get put in a position where he can get back to the top tier of the fight game because he is one of the more dominant fighters up there today. When Mayweather's on his way out. So I'm wondering who the next guy going to be. They're saying Triple G, but I'm looking at Ward as a good, solid fighter. Punching power is not as much as that of a Triple G, but he's a fundamentalist. He has great skill. He's got good rest now. He had a little shoulder situation that was repaired apparently because of the last fight. He looked pretty sharp. So I'm interested to see how Ward get positioned to get back into the thick of things.
Right.
I hope it was a great decision for him signing with the Rock Nation. but there's still a question mark on that.
Now, Rock Nation, who's that?
Jay-Z.
That's the Jay-Z.
Is that Jay-Z? Oh, that's what I thought.
And
Rockefeller. That's
Ryan's
right.
with
They're new to sports management, period. They got some big name guys.
Yeah, they do.
You know, they got basketball players. They got a few football players, I think. They got this Winslow kid that just signed with.
Oh, Justice Winslow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they definitely have some influence.
Right.
You know, but then we're talking about boxing.
Yeah.
Whole different ball game.
Whole nother animal.
Yeah.
Whole nother
different
animal.
ball game.
So we've got about 1 minute left in this segment. Tula, tell me real quickly, where does, just to wrap up with Broner, where does he go from here? You know, that's my favorite question after a boxer gets destroyed. Where does he go from here?
I honestly don't know. You especially you would think, oh, usually it's changing a trainer,
Right.
changing something in your regimen, you know. But he seems like a stubborn guy, set in his way, and I don't know. It's cliche with this character issue thing, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, when I was watching that fight, I was
Take a
going.
break.
Yeah, exactly. I was going back and forth between that one and the Paul Smith and Ward fight, and when he knocked him down, I was like, uh-oh. You know, when he knocked Porter down, he looked like he was a little.
Too late.
Yeah, but Porter looked a little woozy. I'm like, is he gonna get up? You know, so that he got a point. He won a round. He won the round because of knockdown. But like you said, by that time it was too late. But we got to take a real quick break, folks. When we come back, we're gonna talk some more boxing. So this is Mitchell Brock with Bring the Pain Sports, and we'll be right back.
Okay, too far away. Okay.
Hey, folks, and welcome back. I'm still here with Mike Tula and the champ, Ricky Jackson. We left off talking about Adrian Broner, Andre Ward. Of course, the guys fought at the same time last week. But now we want to move on to one of the legends. Oscar De La Hoya is talking about making a comeback. Look at everybody smiling.
Because it's fun. This is funny.
Go ahead, champ.
Well, it's interesting to hear that.
Right.
I mean, but, you know, if you push rewind, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening with De La Hoya, you know, since his retirement, you know. And I mean, it may not have anything to do with boxing, but, you know, the first thing came out about the cross-dressing. You know, that was something of a joke at first, but he admitted to it. He said,
Did he really?
Yeah,
Well, he had to because
I like to get in touch with my feminine
there
side.
was a payout, a settlement.
Yeah.
A settlement he had to pay out, I think, because some woman who was trying to blackmail him and something like that, so he had to come out with it.
Well, he admitted to cross-dressing. He said he likes to get in touch with his feminine side.
Come
you know.
on, bro.
Along with that, yeah, I mean, it's out there.
I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, it's out there deep. I mean, you know, you got to kind of be in the trenches.
In the know, yeah.
It's all over the
You know,
forums.
and along with that,
Yeah.
he's had a few stints in rehab with the drug situation.
That I knew.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you step back out in that light, you got to be prepared to deal with all that. Now, my concern is that when you start having to go to rehab because of emotional crises that set you off into the drug, you know, downward spirals, you know, and that's my concern about him making a comeback, is can he really handle the pressure of getting back into the thick of things?
Right. And how old is he? 40?
42.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit older than that.
Yeah,
42? That
42.
ain't so bad.
Yeah, he had a pretty comfortable career. I mean, he didn't get beat up. He didn't get a lot of damage.
Not much, no.
But again, life outside the ring apparently was a little bit more difficult than we knew about. You know, I was surprised to hear about the rehab stints with the drugs, and also, I mean, that means that's an emotional turmoil going on there. And I think it would be. I think it's a fight from a promotional standpoint that people could get interested about. I mean, Mayweather would definitely.
Whoop him again.
I wouldn't call it a win.
with everything I just said,
I wouldn't call it the first.
well, the first fight was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
That-
it was a close fight.
That was much closer than the judges had it.
Yeah.
I thought so. And, you know, come on. Let's be honest. Right now, that'd probably be Mayweather's most interesting fight, simply from a dollar standpoint, because like it or not, De La Hoya is still, you know, he's got that star power to him.
Right. Well-
And this would essentially be, if he does, he's not going to come back, but if he does, that's essentially like a wrestling match that you're looking at. It's almost like
The entertainment
theater.
value here.
Yeah, because and one of the good things I like about this whole De La Hoya coming back from retirement type of, you know, whatever charade, is that it's bringing
Charade.
it's bringing Golovkin kind of into the mainstream, because you know, everyone's always saying that so-and-so is ducking Golovkin, yeah.
Right.
And then when a guy like De La Hoya comes out, you know, the TMZ video comes out and says, hey, I'll come back if and only if to fight Triple G. And he goes out.
He don't want
Sells
that. He don't want
No,
that.
He doesn't want it,
He don't want that.
but it's getting people talking now. They're kind of pushing him, promoting Golovkin up, and that's kind of helping, you know, promote the next big fight too. So he's doing a good. I think as a promotional stint, it's fabulous. As you know, realistic. You know, there's only one Bernard Hopkins. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, there's also only one George Foreman. I mean,
true.
you know, anything's possible in boxing. You know, I don't say it can't happen, but if it does happen, it's going to be, you know, interesting to see how it turns out. Now, keep in mind, you know, the biggest thing would be is to get Mayweather and, of course, De La Hoya back in the ring. Is it sellable? I think so, but
I'd rather see that than Pacquiao. I'll tell you that.
But I don't think we're going to see the same Mayweather ever again.
No.
This kid made $300 million. You ain't going to be the same after that. I don't care who you are. I mean, I think the intensity is going to shed a little bit. I think the lifestyle is now to the extreme. I don't think we can get that kid back. I don't think he can. I don't think he's that
I think he's
great
done.
of a fighter to where he can come and overlook everything that's in front of him.
I can agree with that, and he kind of admitted it.
Yeah.
I'm
not.
His post-fight interview, right after the fight, he actually said, my goal was to make $200 million in a night, and I did it.
Absolutely.
He almost admitted,
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did it.
you know, that's the way he came across in that interview, right? And he had to check in his pocket. You remember that?
Yeah. And you know how dangerous it can be to start thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
You know, it's a dangerous place to be in any sport.
Yeah.
You know, you just become a little relaxed, a little bit casual, I think, and then it sets you up for failure, I think, every time.
Yeah.
I think this is, you know, a lot of people were kind of talking about, you know, everyone's kept saying that he's ducking Pacquiao. Yeah. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, you know, he can win that fight, and, you know, this is probably going to be his, like, golden parachute, you know, so to speak, before he retired, because apparently he doesn't have a lot of endorsement money. So all of his money that
Exactly.
he gets is strictly from his fights. Yeah. And so this was something that I'm sure he's been looking at and working for a long time, and he finally got it. So, you know, where does that preparation, you know, now for his next fight? I'm sure who's he gonna fight? He could fight Amir Khan, win that fight easily.
Not gonna happen.
And bank.
That would, if I had to guess, I would have said Amir Khan, especially by what we saw when we were, you know, Rich and I were out there. Khan was out there with his
I can see him fight Bradley. Not
so?
Khan. Yeah, I can't see.
He can see, anyone. I mean,
Bradley can't punch, so I mean, it'll be a safe fight. Yeah. You know, Khan is just because Khan's been a nuisance. You know, so I don't think he would give him that fight just because.
I wouldn't either.
And here's the thing about it, though.
He's saying Floyd can come to London and fight here. I can sell it.
Right.
No
You're
way.
talking to he's saying you're talking to Mayweather.
That ain't gonna happen. Look, if you're not fighting in the MGM, exactly. If Floyd is not leaving Vegas, that's why he live out there.
It's on his terms only.
Like, what is it
wherever he fights.
And it works.
He could fight Klitschko and still be on his terms.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wouldn't want to see that one though.
I
wouldn't want to see that one. But another thing I want to touch on was Floyd's next, or supposedly last fight. He's got to fight one more time because he's under contract.
Right.
And that's in September. It'll be July in a couple of days.
Right. Well,
and he still hasn't announced an opponent. Is that
a strategy?
Being a former boxer, is that too late in the game?
No, for him it's not. He know. I mean, for him.
Touche.
Yeah, he don't have to. I mean, it's to his advantage because he already knows who's going to fight.
So you think he knows? He just ain't telling us
Yeah,
yet?
we just don't
so
know.
he already knows.
I mean, we don't know, and the person he's fighting don't know. So who has the advantage in that case?
Yeah.
He does, and he's been very intelligent this far. So why stop now?
Yeah.
I mean, why announce an opponent that will give him time to prepare for me? So I mean, I wouldn't do it as a fighter because it's not a good business move. You know, so I'd stretch it out, let the public salivate a little bit on who's it going to be, and then suddenly and abruptly announce it. Get a guy maybe a month and a half to get ready for it, and you know, have that advantage.
And what a position that is, a power position, because what's his opponent going to say? No, that's their biggest payday.
That's what Champ just said. He said whoever that fighter is doesn't even know yet.
Right.
Who he is.
Well,
kind of like in the first Rocky when Apollo's looking through the book.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And he's like,
Guys, you got
Italian stallion. I want this guy right here. That's kind of.
This guy has the most leverage in the history of boxing. No fighter that I know of,
No, you're right.
that I ever heard of, had this kind of leverage in boxing.
He's literally
boxing
is
don't
running
give
the-
it away.
He's literally running the sport.
Yes,
It's
he is.
fun to watch too. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
the one thing.
He's
you
brilliant.
Watch
It's
him,
keeping it exciting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you watch him pull the strings,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to do that as as a welterweight.
Yeah.
Usually it's the
heavyweights.
Heavyweights run the
or
show.
them, those guys have less control because most of the time, not too smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for us from a standpoint of being the fighter, yes, there's a certain amount of leverage you have. Well, yeah, I won't take that fight. No, I won't take that fight. That's about it. But for as the business at hand, have no influence.
So your guess, if I just said, okay, right now today, you'd say he'd fight Bradley.
I think that'd be the safest fight for him.
Okay.
Bradley has been in there with some of the best fighters. He's been there with Triple G. He's been there with the top tier fighters. So it's definitely a doable fight.
Right.
He has the pedigree.
Right.
You know, so could it sell? Yeah, I mean,
It's gonna sell
he don't
anyway.
really care if it
Yeah.
sells or not.
Like you said, he made $300 million.
he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, monetary wise. I
a
mean,
Mayweather fight's gonna sell.
Mayweather Bradley. Can you sell a Bradley fight? Yeah, you can sell a Mayweather any fight.
Yeah, Mayweather, you can sell anything. Bradley, the guy who robbed Pacquiao, yada yada. People kind of know who he is, but to me, really, I'm already looking at it from a point of view of I'm ready for Cotto Canelo. That's the big fight. That's the next big fight I'm looking forward to. It should be a much more entertaining fight than any Mayweather fight because Mayweather's going to dominate.
Right.
So,
we got about a minute and a half left in this segment, so we did want to. We'd be remiss if we didn't touch on the announced retirement of Sergio Martinez.
Oh.
Okay. Now we talked about De La Hoya with the comeback, and now Sergio Martinez is hanging it up. Champ, talk to me a little bit about Sergio Martinez.
Had a late started in the career of boxing.
Yep.
Being that guy that done that myself, started late, worked hard and tried to make as much progress as I could. It's very difficult without that track record as a solid amateur background and considered being older than normal for, especially in that weight class to start. I think he turned pro at 25.
And he was a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Because I had just watched, I was telling
Right.
Tula before we came on, I had literally I was sitting at home one night bored looking for something on Netflix, and I saw the Maravilla thing about him, and I watched it, and I just had no idea that guy had been through so much.
He's been a fighter his whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's had some big fights and some big wins. I mean, I think that stands out in my mind is the Paul Williams 1 and Paul Williams 2.
Yeah.
The Kelly Pavic fight, which he won, and he beat also Chavez Jr. Losing that fight to the last round and just pulling out a win. I mean, so the guy's had a tremendous
need to know
career.
about Sergio.
Everything you need to know about Maravilla because he came back at Chavez and was going at him. But the Paul Williams, the rematch, I was expecting another long. That feeling you get when you watch a rematch, you think, okay, here comes another long decision. You're kind of already in the driver's seat, and then all of a sudden, it happens. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Made the adjustment, won the fight.
Yeah. Well, I tell you.
So he'll go down in the Boxing Hall of
yeah.
Fame.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he has a story to tell because he, like I said earlier, he started the game late and had tremendous success.
and still
and fought everybody.
51,
51-3-2 with 28
with 8
KOs.
knockouts.
I mean, like you said, to start that late, that is impressive. That's impressive. So this has been a great discussion about boxing, but as you know, folks, we are out of time. So we'd like to thank our guest, Mike Bobineau, join the champ for joining us. And this is Mitchell Brock with Bring the Pain Sports. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.